right, everybody, welcome back to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're tackling millennials in the workplace.
Millennials in the workplace. Yep.
We're going way beyond, like, those kind of like clickbaity headlines you always see, and like really trying to dig into like what this generation,
Right.
is looking for when it comes to their jobs and their careers and all that. So to help me, like, actually, unpack all this stuff,
Yeah.
I've got Ken here again. Ken, like, what are we working with here? What kind of data did you bring me to play with?
Oh, we got some really good stuff. We've got two big reports here. One from PwC, one from Deloitte. And they both went out and they talked to thousands of millennials, but they also talked to people from other generations too,
Okay.
to get a good kind of comparison.
Yeah.
So we can see what's unique about these millennials.
Gotcha. Okay, so like right off the bat, one of the things that I was seeing in both of these was this idea that millennials are like totally committed to their jobs,
Yeah.
which kind of flies in the face of that whole, like, millennials are job hoppers,
Right.
like stereotypes. Like what's the deal there?
Well, it's not that simple, right? I mean, they are driven, like the PwC study actually found that 72% of millennials said career progression is like super important to them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the thing is, they're not going to like burn themselves out for a company that doesn't care about them.
Right.
So
it's not about a lack of ambition. It's just about having
exactly.
like different priorities or a different approach.
It's about priorities, yeah. And it's about, they're looking for that work-life balance. Deloitte, they found that 66% of the millennials they talked to would actually think about leaving their jobs.
Whoa.
In the next 2 years.
Yeah.
If they didn't feel supported by their company in actually achieving that balance.
Makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Not feeling burnt out.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to feel like they're just, grinding themselves into dust.
Right. For a company that doesn't care about them. So, like, what does this actually look like, though? Like, what are some of the things that companies are doing
Sure.
to, like, address this?
Well, flexibility is becoming a huge thing.
Okay.
So think like remote work, being able to work from home or wherever,
Sure.
flexible hours, like being able to set your own schedule.
Yeah.
Kind of structuring your day the way that works for you.
Right.
And get this, the PwC study actually found that millennials are willing to give up pay raises, even promotions, for more flexibility.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Yes.
So it's not just like where you work, it's how the work like fits into your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, on top of that, Deloitte found that millennials, they really value like opportunities to grow and learn new skills, particularly in areas like tech and teamwork and communication.
Makes sense.
But the key is they want to feel like their employer is invested in them in their future.
Right. So it's not just about like free snacks and ping pong tables.
Right.
It's about like actually investing in your employees.
Exactly. They don't want to feel like they're just, a cog in the machine.
Right. Replaceable.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so what about this whole thing about millennials wanting to,
make a difference.
make the difference?
Yeah.
Like, does that actually hold up? Like, is that a real thing?
Oh, it's definitely a real thing. Bork studies found that it's super important to millennials to work for a company that like shares their values.
Oh, interesting.
Like they want to work for organizations that are like, socially responsible, environmentally conscious. They want ethical leaders.
Yeah, they don't want to be working for like, evil corp or whatever.
Exactly. They're looking for a purpose beyond just like, making money.
Yeah, okay, so like for companies who are like, listening to this and being like, oh my gosh, I want to hire millennials. I want to keep my millennial employees happy.
Right.
What does this all like actually mean? Like, what are the takeaways here?
Well, it means they got to step up their game.
Okay.
Like all this stuff we've been talking about, work-life balance,
Yeah.
flexibility, development opportunities,
Yeah.
social responsibility, like these aren't just like trendy perks anymore.
Gotcha.
These are like must-haves if you want to attract and keep these millennial workers.
It really makes you think, like, is this just like a millennial thing, or is this like,
Yeah.
what we all kind of want deep down?
That's a really good question. I mean, millennials, they're just really good at like, speaking up about what they need
Yeah.
and what they want. And they're driving a lot of these changes.
Yeah, they're not afraid to like, ask for what they want and actually walk away if they don't get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, in a lot of ways, they're also kind of reflecting like bigger changes
Okay.
in our society in like how we think about work.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
not just about, punching the clock and getting a paycheck anymore.
Right.
People want more out of their jobs.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. So like what's the big like takeaway for you? Like what do you think people should really be thinking about after listening to all of this?
I think the biggest thing is that millennials are forcing us to rethink what it means to be a good employer.
Right.
Like what does it actually take
Yeah.
to create a workplace where people can thrive?
Yeah.
In the 21st century. And that's a conversation that I think we all need to be having.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Okay, well, that is a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I think you've given our listeners a lot of good stuff to chew on.
Definitely.
As always, thank you so much for joining me on another deep dive.
Yeah, this is great.
And for everybody listening out there, until next time, keep diving deeper.
For sure. 10 to 11.